You're here, and this is the New Eden update for Monday, March 7th, 2016. I'm Wiggles, and here's a roundup of a few stories from around New Eden. First off, an apology to all the viewers and listeners. Last week I had a terrible cold and a cough that meant talking really was actually kind of hard. So I apologise for that, but we are back and I'm over the worst of it, and back with the fighting spirit. So let's get into the news, shall we? We start today at thematani.com with a post about tomorrow's patch for EVE with a focus around the watch list. After the latest patch notes released by CCP to the major majority of changes have been revealed, and the EVE community, as always, has plenty to say about it. With so many changes being implemented here, we at TMC decided to take a bit of a closer look at some of the more significant changes. One of them is the watch list is now being changed back to the buddy list. The watch list in its current form was applied in the Tyrannus update back in May of 2010 and was part of the revamp of the contract system, which replaced what was then called the buddy list. The new system allowed players to add each other as contacts with a negative or positive standings, as well as add each other's players to their own watch list, which would have had the EVE client notify whether the player was added to the on or offline system. The system has remained unchanged since then, so it may not come as a huge surprise that this is finally getting some attention. The watchlist changes will mean that cap ship hunters have to basically use locator agents on and scout out any targets that are potentially viable without knowing whether they are on or offline. This could perhaps be a daunting task for the solo player or even a small squad, but larger corps and alliances shouldn't have any issues adapting to the new system, and may even find that the changes potentially opens up a lot of opportunities for new players to get their feet wet and gathering intel. It could be argued, in fact, that these watchlist changes open up a new avenue for espionage, whether other avenues may have closed. One could theoretically plant spies in any corporation, with the goal being to acquire a buddy list of contacts rather than outright AWOXing. This is a bad change? For CCP to have made, even more of a question mark. It depends on who you ask, and a lot on what you ask. But if the question is whether or not CCP has broken the game within the watchlist changes, the community seems to have, for the most part, answered that question by accepting this new change with open arms. We next go to EVE News 24 for a post about Pandemic Legion and the Imperium clashing in Veil of the Silent. FH TAC TTC system, Veil of the Silent region. On the 6th of March, at 400 EVE standard time, the Imperium forces clashed with Pandemic Legion over a tower in the system. The tower in question has been previously reinforced by PL, and it was exiting its invulnerability period. Both sides geared up for a major fight. The Imperium managed to form an estimated 150 pilots in Hurricane battle cruisers, though through constant reshipping throughout the battle, it makes hard to pinpoint the exact number of pilots that it truly possessed. This force assembled in the FH-TAC system itself, which also serves as one of the Imperium staging systems, specifically for Get Off My Lawn. As this force was assembling, Pandemic Legion formed its own fleet of about 115 pilots in Apocalypse Navy-issued battleships, with 2 Triage Archons and a Dreadnought squadron waiting in the range of the system. This fleet made its way into the FH system, bridging to the neighbouring H-5GUI system and jumping into FH-TAC itself. Once in the system, the fleet chose not to warp to the reinforced tower, instead going to another tower which housed the system's Sinosaural jammer. The fleet quickly set up on the tower and encapped the Sino jammer, thus enabling capital reinforcements to jump into the system if the need arose. However, before the fleet could warp to the reinforced tower, which it was exiting in invulnerability period, it had to incapacitate the warp disruption batteries which were tackling several ships. All told, the battle lasted about 15 minutes with time dilation not being reported, and the system is estimated to have hosted 350 pilots at the peak of the fighting. Pandemic Legion lost 224 ships in the fight, including 21 battleships for a total of 14.76 billion ISK damage. Imperium forces lost 443 ships in a total, including 130 battlecruisers for 17.23 billion ISK damage. Our next post today is over on Crossing Zebras and is a look through the crystal ball. Now, I preempt this post by saying you need a tinfoil and maybe a little bit of water. Quote, we stand on the precipice of a new eve. Citadels stand to change how we live and fight in New Eden. Valkyrie is posed to expose millions of new people to the EVE universe, and we recently have received confirmation that the next generation of first-person shooters set in the EVE universe will be on the PC. However, it seems to be that people still neglect some of what CCP has shown us and what they are doing. And you know what? In the larger picture, yeah, that's kind of how that plays out. Let us take this opportunity to glance into the crystal ball to see the potential future of EVE Online and discuss how it could be possible. The Citadel is ready to come out of reinforcement. The Citadel isn't important because it is a major strategic base for an alliance. Arrayed around the Citadel are various other structures that form the backbone of this forward operating base. The defending fleet stands by as the timer ticks down. The attackers land on grid in the fight and it goes underway. From 400 kilometers away, the beacon is lit and a small contingent of carriers and support come through. The carriers are fitted with a CRU and proceed to launch special fighters containing ground forces. Meanwhile, the fighters screech their way towards the Citadel and dock by blasting a hole in the side. However, the people inside the Citadel are lying in wait for the breach. Invaders attempt to secure key places within the structures. If they can and do so, they lower the resistance, increasing the damage cap or lowering the defense of the Citadel. Meanwhile, the carriers in space must continue to use their support squadrons to resupply the soldiers inside, and if the carriers are shot down, any clones they hold in reserve in their CRUs are lost. Now, this post goes on to have a lot of tinfoil in it and is a great read, so go check it out by the Lore Tsar himself, Ashtar Rothi. Lastly today, we go to CCP Falcon because he wants to let players know of tomorrow's extended downtime for the March patch deployment. Quote, we would like to give a reminder that tomorrow's daily downtime will be extended while we deploy the March release to EVE Online. Downtime will begin at a regular time of 1100 UTC and will run for a total of 90 minutes. We expect that Tranquility's cluster will be back online and accepting connections at about 12:30 UTC once the deployment is complete. This release brings a whole host of changes to New Eden, including increased Drifter activity in Drifter wormhole systems, along with new boosters, more module tier aside, tweaks to the ECCM and ECM modules, changes to the watchlist system, the introduction of Project Discovery, the user interface and camera improvements, new skills in preparation for the release of Citadels, and the new Stasis Grappler modules. Elsewhere in EVE-related content, you know what? There's a ton of new blogs and podcasts to catch up on. As last week, since it's been a week since we did a show, so I recommend you go over to TotalEve.com right now and check out them all out on there. Plex prices in the Forge region are registering an average traded price of 1,156,000,000 ISK so far today, which is up from yesterday's closing average of 1,145,000,000 ISK. The top buy order in Jita right now is 1,153,000,000 ISK, and sell orders are starting at 1,167,000,000. Skill extractors are trading today at 270 million, which is down from yesterday's average of 267. That's actually up. Errata in the notes there. Buying is starting at 266 and sell orders are starting at 268. Skill injectors are trading at 617 million, which is actually down from yesterday's average of 620 million. Buy orders for those are starting at 616 million and sell orders are starting at 627. Thank you to the people who have chosen to support this show on Patreon and decided they get some value back. And a big thank you to everyone because last week it was, quote, payday, where everyone gets charged. So thank you if you have supported. If you want to, patreon.com/wiggles helps us produce this show. Also helps us run the TotalEve.com and all the things I do. It helped buy this, a new processor, which actually this isn't the i7. The new processor is in the rig right now. That's the old i5 in there. But anyway, so thank you if you have helped. If you can't help, or if you want to help, patreon.com, or if you want to help, patreon.com/wiggles or newedenupdate.com/support to find out how to support the show. And I understand not everyone can support, so tell your friends, tell your court mates, your alliance mates. You know what? Here's a job for everyone. Tag 3 friends on social media and link the site to them. You know what? Let us know how you feel. And as you can see, I also do this live on Twitch and YouTube, and we upload it afterwards, and we'll be doing it for a podcast. So thank you if you have enjoyed this. Feedback, as always, is welcome. This has been the New Eden Update for Monday, March 7th, 2016. Our email address is feedback@newedenupdate.com, or you can leave comments in the show blog. Funnily enough, that's newedenupdate.com. you can send us a tweet at New Eden Update. I also encourage you to check out all the latest headlines in the podcast, like I said, and the blog post, and all the other information you can find, the Reddit post, the forum post, and all that other stuff on TotalEve.com. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Wiggles, and thank you for listening.